Robin was a works driver for the Roots rally team, and apparently won the British Championship 40 years ago, am I right? Is that correct? Use the microphone.
41 years ago.
Now you drove for Chrysler, or Roots as it was then, and this weekend I understand you're driving a Sunbeam Lotus, which was out to the Russell Brooks fold. So I'm only got half a story here, so I'm going to hand over to you and you can tell us the full story. I've seen the big burly Irishman, I can't remember his name, he owns the car. There he is there. Can't remember your name.
John Leahy.
John Leahy, that's it, fantastic, well done. Excuse my ignorance. But John has sorted this deal together, as I understand, and Robin is out tomorrow. I understand it's a grand age total in the car co-driver and yourself, so you can take over from there.
Well, I couldn't add up the years. Between the two of us, there's more than two hands. Well, anyway, it's plenty. I'm driving John Leahy's car, which Russell Brooks drove in the year that the Talbots won the World Championship in 1981. Russell was one of the team. I'd been sacked by that time for incompetence, and it's really I agreed with being sacked too. I thought it was quite right. Anyway, once they got rid of me, they moved on to much better things. To put Howard straight, actually, I started off driving for Roots in Imps. And
Roots, now, just for the audience, tell us what an imp is, because a lot of you won't know what an imp is. And this is a small little car with an engine in the back, isn't it?
It's a little square job. It's a sort of poor man's Mini. And they were great fun. They were particularly great fun down here because you could float the nose out where other people put their front wheels, you would put your back wheels. Because the front of the car, really, you didn't need steering at all. They were just, the front wheels were only there to keep the sunk guard off the ground. You really drove it like a barber.
So, what number are you at? Scurry into this to find what number you are tomorrow.
77.
77. So here we are, Robin A. Maunsell, with Peter Scott in the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. So how does this deal all come together basically? You just want to do another go or what?
Well, you're really asking why I'm still doing something.
Yeah.
It's so foolish at my age. Well, really, the secret about longevity in any sport is to be not very good at it. Because that way you don't have a reputation to protect. So you can go on getting worse and worse and slower and slower, and nobody notices the difference.
You managed to do this for over 40 years, so you must be good at something.
Yeah, persistent but not good. The reason why I'm driving this car, I mean, I took a self-denied ordinance after the Roger Albert Clark rally about 3 years ago, which I hated every minute of it, that I'd never do another stage rally. So that's why I'm here. Actually, John Leahy, who owns this car, Russell, who's a very good and old friend of mine for many years, and it was his car. John Leahy owns it. It's a really nice car. It's a really very special car. And one of 3 or 4 that were all built, one for Henry Toyven and one for Guy Freckle and one for Russell Brooks in that year, 1981. Lovely car. I mean, I went out in the World Rally Car today. I couldn't believe it. I had to get out to be sick. But anyway, it looks like terribly hard work, whereas this car is just a beautifully prepared, really nice car. Quite quick, but not too quick to frighten an old fella.
Now this is the car that, again, there's an Irish guy, a young Irish guy, you know, this guy the last couple of years in the historic championship. What was his name? Owen Murphy, that's it. So this car's got a little bit of history, it can go. So what are we hoping for tomorrow?
Survival. Owen Murphy drove this car extremely quickly. I propose to show a different side to this and drive it extremely slowly.
So now, with your 40 years of experience and winning the British Championship 40 years ago, what can you give to the youngsters here? I mean, Jason's not very old, but Tom is just out in that piece. What's
my advice?
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Find something sensible to do with your life.
You've obviously managed to do it for years. I doubt very much when you're spending your own money. And that's a great thing if you can keep in the sport at that level, at what I'd like to say a professional level. It's fantastic.
Well, one of the snags of having been lifted and laid as a professional, that when they chuck you out, you just find out how bloody expensive it is. So I did a bit. They gave me, as a going away present, they gave me the X-Ski Freckland, Sunbeam Lotus, and but I could barely afford to run it, and ran it in a few events in the continent and here, just one or two events for a couple of years, and then decided that was nonsense, and stopped completely for 20 years, and then I went back to road rallying at the end of the 90s, and have gradually got sucked back into this. I took up motor racing at 65 because I thought it would be much easier and less stressful, and I wasn't any good at that either. So here I am.
Do you own any of the cars that you drove? Did you keep them and mothball them for the future?
No, I didn't keep any. Not at all. I had no wish to keep them. They got passed on. They were mostly a bit of a mess by the time I finished them. They were certainly past their best. One or two have been lovingly restored by people with no sense. I hope to get a driving one of those, one of my own ones, shortly, but we'll see.
And looking back over your 40 years, what is your fondest memory? What is the one thing that springs to mind and think, yeah, I know that because I was there, or I really enjoyed that, or hell, that was close?
I think the most fun I ever had was downhill, Welsh Forest with an inn. They were very slow uphill, but they were absolutely fantastic downhill. And because they were only 1 litre cars, they sort of, all the stars would go by, you know, we'd be running somewhere between 15 and 20. But it was great to see them go down, and all the crowds scattered. I mean, they'd seen Roger Clark and Harry Vatton and Harry Nicola and all the rest of them, but they scattered when they saw an incoming, because it was never pointing in the direction it was going.
Or intended to go. Tom, we'll move along the table slightly. Great aspirations here. I mean,